Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the virtual launch of the first ever Yorkshire Blogger Awards. We're really excited. We pulled together a fantastic panel today to have a quick discussion about all things blogging, all things Yorkshire, and all things digital. So the plan for today is, obviously, Yorkshire's become a major hub for all things digital over the past few years, and that includes being home to some of the most talented, inspiring and creative bloggers, influencers and creators and businesses in the country. You probably noticed there've been lots of different awards ceremonies that recognise various creative people and the success of those, and it's fantastic. However, what there hasn't been is an awards evening that celebrates creative talent within God's own county, and that is why we're running this fabulous event. So come and see what Yorkshire has to offer as we recognise the amazing work in our beautiful county. This is the launch event today, but if all goes well, we're hoping that come Friday the 25th of September this year, the actual award ceremony itself will be taking place. It will be at the beautiful Left Bank in Leeds, just near Burley, and there's more information to come later on. So the plan for today is a welcome from me. I'm James McCann. I'm Head of Business Development at the digital agency Ascensa, which is partnering the awards this year. Next, I'm about to introduce our wonderful guests and panelists, and then we'll be discussing some of the more important and intriguing subjects which have affected us the past 12 months and what's ahead for the next 12 months. And then we're going to invite you all to ask some questions and answers, and we'll provide a few more bits of information about the event itself. So, here are our panelists. I'm just going to go around and invite you all to introduce yourselves. So we'll start with Kim and Evie.
Hi everyone, so this is myself and Evie. I'm Kim and we work at Ascensa digital agency, as James said, which is based in Leeds. We are the main sponsor behind the Yorkshire Blogger Awards, and as we work in social media, and as everybody knows, it's massive and this is where it's really going to grow. And yeah, so that's why we just think it's such a great thing to be behind, because social is our work and social is pretty much everybody's life. So yeah, that's me.
I'm Evie. So yeah, day to day, me and Kim work with various different clients in loads of different aspects of business, from like flooring to bed companies, etc., etc. And we work with them to promote their social media accounts online. But yeah, in terms of the Yorkshire Blogger Awards, we're really happy to be a sponsor. We think it fits really well with what we do as a company. Obviously, we help Yorkshire businesses, don't we, day in, day out. And yeah, we're just really excited to have all this lovely panel with us as well. So yeah, very excited.
We certainly are. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Evie. Next up, Kate Goldring.
Thanks, James, and thanks, Kim and Evie. So I'm here in the capacity of representing Leeds Mind, we're the local mental health charity, which hopefully you all know and have heard of what Mind do. My role is I'm Director of Business Development, where I lead on fundraising. I run a programme around mental health in universities. I work on securing investment through commissioning. I run our commercial training team, so we go and run mental health training in businesses across the city and surrounding areas, looking at mental health in the workplace. I also deal with our marketing and comms side of things, so that's sort of my role. I'm absolutely thrilled that we've been selected as the charity to be supported with this amazing event. It feels really pertinent with the link to mental health at the moment. Certainly listening to the guys from Life of Mummies and being a mum to an 8-year-old myself, I wish you guys had been around when my little one was young. So thanks so much for having me here today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kate. And yes, Life of Mummies, speaking of.
Hi. Hi. So I'm Holly.
And Sophie.
So yeah, we actually set up Life of Mummies when our first, who are nearly 4 now, were about 3 months old. And it was just mainly because we were first-time mums. We had no idea what we were doing. We were thrown into this new world, gave up our careers, all the above. And we just felt like we had no support and we didn't know where to turn to. And we thought we'd kind of,
we wanted to show the reality of having
children, because we thought, you know, Instagram was a very beautiful place, and when you come home from hospital and you don't look so beautiful and you go on Instagram and everyone's got a newborn, like, hey, like 3 days postpartum, and it's very confusing. We wanted to create a space where mums would come to be like, oh, okay, it's normal to look 5 months pregnant when you've just had a baby, and it's really, really isolating and lonely having a newborn sometimes. So we share the highs and lows, and we just so happen to have coordinated cycles. So we both have 1-year-olds and we both have
almost
4-year-olds, which is really great for the vlog. So yeah.
Brilliant, wonderful, thank you. Next up we have Jodie Harris.
Hi there. Hi.
Hi, Jodie.
So I have worked within the leisure, travel, events, entertainment industry for most of my career, and got my own luxury travel agency, which I've had for about 6 years now. And due to the pandemic, had to have a little pivot in my career. Launched May Lux Life and Style, which has turned into a wonderful community on Facebook, on Instagram, and also online, where we discuss, inspire, share everything there is to do about luxury lifestyle. And so I've kept myself busy the last 12 months and loving being part of the Yorkshire Blogger Awards, because social media has blown up in my life in the last 12 months as well. I've never, ever been on it as much, and it's been unbelievable. So it's a real pleasure to be part of the awards and to meet all different people from different industries, which is what I love the most.
Well, thanks, Jodie. Next up, we have Lucy Robinson.
Hi there, I'm Lucy and I am PR by trade. I've been doing it for 15 years. I started out in fashion PR. I worked in Paris, an agency working with the likes of Givenchy, Chloe, Balmain. Came back to the UK and moved into travel PR. And then 5 years ago, I set up my own PR agency. My clients are the likes of Nikki Beach, which some of you might know of, Wraithwaite Sands End, which is up on the Yorkshire coast. I also have an interiors brand called Snug, a sofa brand, and I've worked with various different, travel brands, mainly across in Europe. So obviously I was heavily hit by the pandemic, and I too have pivoted and have launched an online clothing brand as well, which has blown up. My whole career has mainly been working with traditional press, so magazines, newspapers, online. Instagram didn't even exist when I started out in PR, and obviously now I'd say maybe 70% of the work that I do is with influencers for brands. So it's a mix of traditional PR and working with influencers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lucy. Next up, Jane Kleins.
Morning, everyone. Great to be here and for us all to be together. So Kim approached, I have an event company, and Kim approached me, must be nearly 2 years now, Kim, to say, we've got an idea to do the Yorkshire Blogging Awards. Would you take it on as a project with us? And obviously I said, love to, that would be great. And we were originally going to be doing this event in September last year, but obviously with the pandemic as it is, and we then have kept moving and moving, and so we're now a year later, and obviously my business has gone all virtual, which is great. It's another area, another challenge, another whatever, and it's fantastic. And I said to the girls, right, rather than let's just wait for the awards, we were always having the panelists. I said, let's do something that's a bit fun. Let's meet the panelists, which is great because then we can share this on social media and everybody can hear from us rather than just wait and not see our panelists. So some things are benefit from having to think outside the box, and that's what I like. And I think the creativity that shown to here today and within the world is amazing. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, we've got devastation beyond, but to celebrate the creativity and what will follow, I think it's fantastic. So,
absolutely, Jane. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I think we're all looking at the positive side of this. And last but certainly not least, Terry George.
Hi, thank you for having me on here. So for anybody who doesn't know who I am, I've been around for 100 years in Leeds. Started out as a DJ, but now I have different bars and clubs and hospitality. So hospitality is my industry. Bar Fibre, which has been going now for 21 years. We're in our 21st year. So somebody who's watching may have been there at some point. Then we've got the Viaduct Show Bar. Then we have the Bells, which is apartments, hotel kind of setup, which is luxury apartments in Leeds. Brigate Boutique, which is hotel rooms, also in the city centre of Leeds. We have a couple of other businesses as well, which are online. I'll just run through them. Well, a couple of them. There's Psychic Living, which is in the psychic world, and Moon Bar, which is also in the psychic world. So there are a couple of other businesses that kind of people who know me don't really know that I'm involved with. But we have a few other little businesses that work online like that as well. Throughout the pandemic, what we've done to use social media is to do live broadcasts for our DJs and entertainers, which had challenges in itself, because obviously Facebook and Instagram don't allow you to play current music. They keep cutting you off. So then we found another streaming service and embedded it into our website, and it's proven extremely popular, really. And it's something that we're going to continue to do on a Saturday night as well, when we're open and trading. So something good's come out of it, and we all know that as soon as that we're allowed to open again in June, is it 21st of June? I'll just check my date then. Yeah, 21st of June. Oof, I nearly had it wrong then. 21st of June. You know, we're going to probably be one of the busiest industries that there is in the country. So we're really looking forward to that. And that's pretty much who I am at the moment.
Wonderful. Thank you, Terry. So yeah, as you can see, we have a wonderfully diverse array of panelists today, and I think it'd be good to find out not only, you know, how we've been coping with what's going on, but how we've managed to become successful in the first place, and kind of where we're going to go from here, and the impact that kind of social media and the entire blogging community has on that. So kind of the first question, and I'll put this to you, Life of Mummies, which is, what would you say is the secret behind your success in both kind of building your businesses and careers, and what strengths do you need to have to succeed?
I think it's being relatable, isn't it? I think the whole thing is about always being honest and relatable and staying true to what you believe in. And I just feel,
yeah, I mean, for us, it's really funny because our relationship is a genuine relationship. So it has been very authentic, and we've just been very lucky that people have related to us. Yeah. But we do, as much as you know, we are friends. We do, especially when you want to be an influencer. You know, if we want to use that word, you do have to have a goal, and you have to structure your day, and you have to create content. And you know, Lucy will know, working from PR, if we work with a brand, we get a contract. You know, it's not, people just look at an Instagram and you think, oh, pretty pictures, you know, but you have to you know, follow the company's guidelines. You have to post on particular days. You have to do what the brand want you to do while staying authentic. So I think that the key for us is always making sure, you know, we may get an offer from a brand that is just not us. Yeah, you know, like a whiskey brand, and we're like, it's just not our, you know, what we stand for. So I think it's learning to say no to things that don't work for your brand, and not just say yes to everything. Yeah. And always stay true to what you believe in. But with something like an Instagram, you do have to have a structure and treat it like a business at the same time if you want to grow your following, because it's all about numbers, learning the algorithms of when to post. You know, if you post something at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday, no one's going to see it. If you post it at 9 o'clock at night on a Friday, everybody's going to see it.
There's so much that goes on behind it. It's not actually as simple as it looks.
But you know, I just think tips and little tricks like that are what helps to grow an account.
Yeah.
I agree, and it's something we've definitely seen as well. I think the more genuine you can be, the more relatable you become, and the more likely people are to engage with your content. I mean, Lucy, would you agree that kind of that authenticity is the key to being successful, certainly now?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely imperative. I think, so I'm coming at it from both sides, you know, 15 years in this industry, and I've seen a lot of people that have worked really, really hard to get to where they are, you know, and there's a lot of people out there who just basically decide one day that they want to become an influencer. And as someone that represents brands and someone now that's actually running my own brand, you can really see the difference. And if you really want to make it within the industry and be long term, you know, you can't get everything for free to start with. You're not going to get paid to start with. I mean, I worked for free as an intern, like back in the day, no joke. I worked for free for a year to get to where I've got to, but I wanted to work with big luxury brands. I wanted to run my own business, and I knew what I needed to do. And I was very lucky, and I could live with my parents at the time. But you have to graft, and I think that is the one thing, and I'm sure Life of Mummies, as you know, content creators would agree, it doesn't come easy. You really have to put the time and effort in and network and be genuine.
100%, because we actually didn't even originally start the account to be influencers.
Exactly, and that shows.
Yeah, we started it in you know, and you all know how long you've had an Instagram account. Our kids are nearly 4. We started it when they were about 5 months old.
Exactly.
So we just started. I'd had a miscarriage before I had my son, and I'd watched a video of a girl talking about a miscarriage, and for me that was really like helpful for me, because didn't know who to talk to. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. So we sat down with our tripod and we recorded a whole thing about it, and we put it on YouTube. So I was like, if it can help one person, then that's amazing. And that's really where it started from, was just being genuine, just like, just being genuine, and hopefully being somebody that other people can relate to. And we've always tried to keep that. The other day, someone sent us a script that they wanted, and it was like, Holly says to Sophie, oh my goodness, that's a lovely face mask. Sophie says to Holly, oh, I can eat it too. I was like, yeah, no,
it's
sorry.
not happening.
You can see, when you see someone write ad at the beginning of something,
you instantly switch off.
Either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it, and it either really annoys you because you're like, don't insult my intelligence by trying to pretend that you like this thing, or it comes across as a real organic thing, if that's what that, you know, that Instagram account really stands for. So you just have to be authentic.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting how you touch on sometimes things come along and you just have to pivot in a different direction than the unexpected. And Jodie, I know you're definitely you definitely agree with that.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, from the beginning of the pandemic, it was very clear that travel was going to be a problem. So having a travel agency, the first couple of months was just fraught with rearranging, rebooking, cancelling, questions, uncertainty. It was really stressful and not very nice at all. And after all that had passed, it was like, well, kind of what am I going to do now? Because I'm sat at home probably for some time. And actually, I'd been working on some projects behind the scenes, which I'd never really had time to bring to the forefront. And I just thought, you know what, with this time, I'm going to try and work out some of these other options. And so Lux Life and Style was born very organically. It's taken on a life of its own. It's changing and evolving month on month. And really it was started to be a place and a space for people to connect and discuss and share and inspire all ideas about luxury lifestyle, which actually in the beginning of the pandemic was such lovely light relief that people were talking about garden furniture and paint colors and lovely loungewear, and it was nice. There's never ever been one political comment or post, nothing about the pandemic, nothing about Boris, nothing about the world. And so actually it turned into just a really nice kind of soft, happy place to be. And now it's turned into a website that's, I've worked with about 50 hand-picked shopping partners who all have come from social media. I didn't know, most of them I didn't know before, and they've either been through outreach from me or then through Facebook and Instagram. And it's just been absolutely amazing. And so really the power of social media now, and like Lucy said, when I started my marketing career, it did not exist. Facebook was actually banned in the office because people were spending too much time and getting distracted on it. And now, you know, fast forward 20 years and it's absolutely, there's whole departments working on, like Kim and Evie, that's their jobs. And it's been a revolution of time. And I actually think for business networking, which is kind of my original intention with Lux, is that actually it is now time to revolutionize business networking, because the breakfast meetings of old, actually, you can do these things. Look at us now, all online. I've had Zoom meetings with people I've never met and would never have met before. You know, I'm speaking to photographers in London, PR companies in Manchester, and people are able to connect so much easier. Yeah,
it's interesting how we've seen people adapt in a positive way so much since kind of the pandemic started, which is basically a year ago this week, isn't it? But of course there is that more I don't want to say negative side to it, but Kate, you'll know more than most that kind of there has been a substantial impact from this from a mental health point of view. So how has Mind kind of adapted their approach to being able the business to not only continue and grow, but also support the people that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, as much as, you know, we talk about demand for services probably being a good thing in business, in our line of work, that's not necessarily a good thing. But unfortunately, we have seen a double in the number of referrals that we've had in the last year. So, you know, mental health is a really hot topic. The positive thing really for us around the pandemic is that more people are now talking about mental health. You know, it's not, I think the stigma has reduced somewhat as a result of people actually saying, yeah, I am struggling with this. Lockdown is tough. Some research recently delivered by National Mind suggests that where we were, it was 1 in 4 people would struggle with mental health difficulty in their lifetime. In the early pandemic, in the first lockdown, nationally, it was then 1 in 5. And in Yorkshire and the Humber, it was 1 in 6. Sorry, the other way around, but you know what I mean. Anyway, the figures have gone up, but there was also 10% of people who were struggling with suicidal ideation as well. So the impact on mental health has been massive. But thinking about how, you know, we sort of have used our skills to be positive at Leeds Mind, I think the one thing I've been really lucky throughout my career is that I've always been able to work in an organisation I'm really passionate about. So I've worked in the voluntary sector since I was in my early 20s, and I'm almost 40 now, so there's a confession straight up. So I've worked in a series of amazing places, from children's cancer charities, children's hospices, even Eureka, the children's museum, which I'm sure Life with Mummies and anyone else with a child will know really well.
I don't have a child and I still love that place.
It was one of the most fun places to work after hours, I'll give it that. But at Leeds Mind, we actually recruit people, not just in terms of our service delivery, our people that work to support individuals, but across all our teams who've got lived experience of mental health difficulties. So our workforce is passionate because they've been there. So, you know, referring to Life of Mummies before, saying, you know, it would have been great to have you there. I struggled myself with mental health difficulties in 2012 when I had my little boy and I was diagnosed with postnatal depression. So, you know, I'm absolutely great now. And Danny, aka the Beast, at 8, looks like he's about 12 years old because he's such a giant. But, you know, it's so relatable then. And you come back to this sort of idea around authenticity that's been mentioned a few times. And I think at Leeds Mind, our success, I suppose, has been in supporting people well because we've been there.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, and it's funny you talk about authenticity because there's proof that this has not been rehearsed because Terry's just having some connections set into the moment. So as soon as he's back online, we'll pivot to Terry. But Jane, obviously, kind of your line of work is very much so, or has been, physical as well in the past. So how have you adapted the past 12 months? I mean, you've done obviously an amazing job with us helping to organise these awards, and will do going forward. But it must have been challenging at the same time. You're muted, Jane.
Sorry.
I was wondering how long it would take me to say that for the first time. So we've done all right.
So I think when I did a breakfast club, a live face-to-face breakfast club on March the 16th in 2020, and it was a Monday, if it would have been the Tuesday, it would have been cancelled on the Monday, but we managed to get it live on the 16th. And it was a regular breakfast club that I do for an organisation. And I think then I thought, and we did them bi-monthly, and I thought, oh, by June, we'll be back. We'll be back. And in May, I then suddenly thought, we're not going to be back anytime. And as I say, I work with this organisation. They had sponsors, partners, everything like that. And so there was some responsibility to support this organisation. So I thought, right, we'll have to pivot it and do it virtually. So the one thing I'd say is, because obviously you get to an age and you know your strengths and your weaknesses. And my strengths are really not in the tech side of work. So I think it's important to work with very strong partners, and working with very strong partners that can support you is amazing. So I immediately contacted Johnny Ross, and I'm sure a number of you know him, and he supported us with this. And then I also had a contract with another company. So we just moved everything virtually, and it's got its place. It really has. I mean, it really has its place. We wouldn't be here today if it didn't. And I think there's a lot to learn from it. You know, now we think to ourselves, yeah, of course we love the live events. Yeah, of course we want to go out. But for meetings, do we, if it's a meeting that, say I was going to Manchester and it was a half-hour meeting and it took me an hour and a half to get there, what am I doing that for? But I'm very much, I like to think out the box. That's my strength in business. And I like to make things different. I think if people are paying me to do an event, it has to be different. And that's sort of my benchmark. So, and you just look at the guidelines, go with the guidelines. I mean, in September, I did a fabulous wedding. I did a fabulous bat mitzvah where we had 30 people. That was amazing. They were amazing. In some ways, it was really quite nice having 30. It really was. April the 12th, you're allowed drive-ins. So I have a drive-in bar mitzvah, right, which we're doing, which again is something else. And I like that. It makes it exciting and it stretches you. And I think as long as what you're doing is to a really good standard, that's what it's all about. So, yeah. And
yeah, it's interesting how you say we've just pivoted in a good way, really. And Terry, hopefully you're all connected now. I mean, yeah, you'll know more than most, as you mentioned earlier. You've had the virtual DJ sessions, and you know, we've got the psychic element. But would you say now it's not even a case of going back to normal? This is going to be the new normal. Obviously, physical events and the bars and everything is going to open, but you're going to continue with the virtual aspect too.
I hate that word, the new, like new normal or whatever. I like to think that we're going back to normal. I'd like to think that we're going to go back to the old times in terms of what we do to a certain degree. I think a lot of industries have to have that element of it, but of course you know, I was talking about we've been doing lives from the venues, so that will be new technology that we're using, new areas of expertise that we've never got involved in and never really done. So I think doing lives from fibre and viaduct on a Saturday night will certainly be the future. Yes, I think we're all tricky one. I think I hate trying to say that we're changing too much, but I think we do, like Jane says, you know, you evolve out of it. You become something different. You stretch yourself to a degree that you don't know you ever did before, and I think that you come up with new ideas. I mean, look at what just happened to me now. You know, I switched my Bluetooth off. Didn't realise, I was only trying to turn my headphones off. Didn't realise that my keyboard was Bluetooth. My mouse was Bluetooth. I was stuck on mute. I couldn't even take the camera off. You're all watching me. I had to ring somebody from the office to run around with a manual keyboard and plug us back in. So, you know, it's funny, isn't it? When you're in a situation, you actually, how your mind takes over and makes you do things that you wouldn't normally think of, because you kind of get a little bit lazy and complacent, I think, in a lot of things. And I think that's what it's made us do. You know, we're looking at whole new ways of how we can embrace technology and how we can embrace new things to make the business work better. So, I mean, when we were doing the sitting down and having drinks at Fibre, for example, you know, when you had to come in and you had to have a table of 6, and you had to do, you couldn't go to the bar and order, you had to order while you were sitting at your table. A lot of people actually like that. A lot of people in the viaducts liked it because, you know, you didn't have to move from your table and the service was quicker. So maybe some good things are definitely going to come out of this. I'm sure they are in actual fact. But jumping back to what Life of Mummies was saying, that what makes business successful, and I liked what they said right at the very opening start, was being honest and being truthful with people and being sincere. And I think that's what's made our businesses successful, and having a passion for it. To be honest, Fibre, people don't even know this, but Fibre started out as a playground for me. I used to DJ. I'd stopped DJing, and I'd had like about 3 or 4 years off, and I was getting very, very depressed. And I didn't realize at that point, until that point, of how much I needed to be around people and, you know, having engagement with people. And I'd go out and kind of having the center of attention as a DJ. I can see how celebrities suffer with it, that you kind of love this being, you kind of like not, you sort of don't want the attention, but when it's not happening, you miss the attention. So there's something there that you want to be involved. You want to be kind of important to people's lives, and, you know, important in being involved with people. And I missed that when stopping DJing. And then that's when I thought, oh God, what can we do now? And then open my own bar. So that's Michael and myself. We did that. We opened Bar Fibre, and for the first 3-5 years, we didn't make any money. In fact, we spent more than what we made. And but we had the luxury of one of our other businesses, which was telephone industry that we were in, that was paying for everything. So we didn't even look at the balance sheet. We didn't even know what it, you know, we didn't even understand bars, what they were about and how you're supposed to make money. But 21 years on, you know, now we know how to do things, and the pandemic has shown us a lot. You know, one thing that I'll share with you, which, you know, it's probably a little bit of an internal secret, that we had tons of stock that was out of date, not because of the pandemic, that was out of date anyway, because you just leave it to the managers and people. You leave, and then there's us, and you just leave it to people. And then they're not rotating the stock. So something as simple as taking the old stock from the back and putting it to the front, and then using it wasn't happening. So we found that so without the pandemic, we probably would have been looking like we had tons of stock, and every bit that was coming in new was always going in, and the old stock was never getting used. You know, and it's mad, and you learn things, and you know, that's been a great learning curve. Even, you know, 21 years on in the industry, it's like something that you think, you know, it's like a schoolboy error, but, you know, people don't show you these things. I'm sure that everybody on here who has their own businesses, you know, you have a great idea, you're doing something, but then you have to become something different. You have to become an accountant. You have to become a person who works in dealing with people's problems in HR, you know, and all these kind of things. And you're not set up for that. You're an ideas person that has a great idea and make it work, and you do it for fun. But then all these other problems that follow around it, you know, that you then have to deal with. But I think Jane says it right. Get people who are good around you, and that's the key to it, isn't it? Having a great team and having a great support network. And I think that along the way we've done that, and hopefully we're going to grow that and expand it going forward.
Absolutely. It's interesting you mentioned the stock, because our company and Andy keeps us very much stocked up with soft drinks and whatever we'd like, which is fantastic. But obviously with not many people being in the office, and hardly any of us, we've got loads of like Coca-Cola and things like that needs drinking. I mean, I'm sure I can manage some of it, but yeah, it's the little things like that. And as you spoke about the kind of human interaction as well, Terry, it's that engagement has definitely moved more so online now. We found, and Kim and Evie, certainly when you're working with some of our clients who are looking to not just necessarily drive that traffic, which is obviously what we want to do in the conversions, but we want to start new conversations and work with people and engage with them. And have you found that that's taken even more of a focus the past few months?
Yeah, it definitely has. I mean, I've never done so many Zoom meetings and, you know, these online meetings. I find them a little bit difficult, to be honest, because, you know, you want to scratch your nose and you want to do something, or you want to look around, or you get a text and you constantly look at everybody's eyeballs. They're all looking straight on. They're all watching their own facial expressions. And, you know, and you don't have that in a live meeting, do you? You know, when you're with people, you can get away with a lot of things, you know, like I'd often be sat like this, falling asleep at the desk or something, but, you know, you can't do that on here. You've got to be kind of alert and watching. So it's certainly a different area, which makes you think totally different as well, doesn't it?
It does. It's funny you should say that as well. The amount of times I've been speaking to people and they've said, oh, just give me a second, I need to go, and they'll stand up and they're like in a pair of boxers and flip-flops or something like that.
But do you want to see what I've got on?
We've already seen you going to get your keyboard. It's all right. So, and Kim and Evie, you've seen quite a lot of that as well, haven't you, just from an engagement perspective?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as Terry was saying then, I think as we've moved to video calls, especially, you know, you see the real side of people, and, you know, at a time, obviously we're quite a big team here, and it's really helped us to get to know people more, because you get cats walking in, you get people, you know, children walking in, and it's a more real side. And I think in terms of the social side of it, you know, where do people go when they're all at home? They go online, and, you know, we are a digital agency, and that's where we help them with e-commerce, because they're now shopping online. You know, I say it quite a lot in our blogs and things that, I mean, I certainly did it. As soon as we went into lockdown, you wanted to know if your local restaurant was doing a takeaway, and where do you go to find that out? You go on Facebook. And so I think that's where obviously me and Evie come in terms of helping businesses to get out there on social, because it's so important. I mean, in terms of, you know, connecting with, I think there was quite a lot of groups for shielding people, and, you know, like Kate said, the good and the bad sides of social media. Obviously we're for the good side, but we recognise that it can be used in such a positive way as well, and that's also where we hope we come in with clients.
100%. We've noticed as well, it's a lot more like everyone said, being honest. And this is what we say to clients, like the more honest you are about your brand, it builds an online presence that people want to follow and people want to see, you know, keep updated with you. So that's where me and Kim come in, and we help brands to become more honest online and to show their presence in a good way. Because you don't want to be following somebody that just, you know, posts stuff that clearly isn't anything to do with their brand. And I think that's certainly what we've taken out of this pandemic, is the fact that transparency, honesty, and everything like that online does really work for any industry at all. And yeah, that's where we kind of just help people do it. But I definitely think we've seen kind of the positive aspect that social media can have. We've had clients come to us that have had no sales, and through social we've generated like loads of inquiries, and they wouldn't have known how to do that before if we hadn't have kind of given that push and said, no, get an Instagram account, no, get a Facebook, no, you need a Facebook page. So yeah, it is really important, and you know, we definitely have seen the positive side of it from our side.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got some rave reviews, and it makes my life easy. So thank you. But it's interesting what you said, Evie, just with regards to that authenticity and not necessarily partnering or pushing with something that's not authentic. Because Life of Mummies, you mentioned earlier, kind of a whiskey brand, maybe not something you want to partner with, but kind of moving forward for the rest of 21 and kind of beyond. What are your priorities going to be in terms of either the partners or the bloggers or whoever you work with, and then kind of what you really want to focus on yourselves?
I think, to be honest with you, it's always staying true to ourselves and authentic. We have to go with our kids as well, because as they grow, the brands we want to work with as well will change and grow. So it is always about being authentic. But eventually we would love to create our own brand. We want to create something out of Life of Mummies that's very much ourselves and what we know our audience will relate to and what they'll want. But
yeah, and in terms of our goals as bloggers, obviously it's for the moment we are growing our account, and we'll get to the point where hopefully we have a really, really strong following, and then we are able to have the trust to do something like Create Our Own Brand. We've spoken about writing a book. Not that we're the most, you know, knowledgeable people. We only have children under 4, but it's still something that you go through. Yeah. And you know, I think that that's the thing with us as well, that we actually just take every day as it comes. Yeah. I wish that we were like, here's our 6-month plan every day. There just isn't
but
one.
There's never a plan with kids involved. No. You just have to kind of go with it and see what happens.
And literally, yeah, that's it really. It's not, there's not really a rocket science to it. You know, we were going to start an online e-commerce business, and we sort of got into it. We actually spoke to Jodie quite a bit about it, and she gave us some advice, and she was like, what you can make from your website, what do you make from a post, and how much you have to invest into your website? Well, a lot, and it's us. And how much do you make from a post? So actually, because we were just desperate to turn it into a business, something that means something that has longevity. Our Instagram account could get deleted tomorrow. That's the thing with Instagram, anything can happen. I have
let's hope not, though.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point you make there, though.
Yeah,
talk about the Instagram, and this is, you know, where it comes into mental health as well, because I know that some people who have invested so much time and energy into Instagram or other social media platforms, only to have it pulled by them, you know, and it's a faceless organization, so obviously you can't talk to them, you can't get anywhere, and it does have an effect on the mental health. You know, it depends on, you know, whether it's business or whether it's just personal. I'm talking about from a personal point of view. A lot of people do really get upset if they get their post pulled, and you know, you can, for no reason, it can just be some people reporting you that, you know, out of vindictiveness, you know, and that's awful, really, and that's the danger when you're reliant on some other platforms like that.
Someone that I know has like, we're on TikTok. Obviously, TikTok's like, you know, new, but it's very popular amongst like the younger sort of 15, 16-year-olds, younger girls. You know, it's what they've been doing during lockdown, making TikTok videos. And I know someone, she's only a young girl, she's 13, who had a TikTok account, and she was creating these videos, and she had, one of them went viral, it had 1 million views, and then TikTok just deleted her account.
Yeah.
And she was crying to me, being like, I don't know how to get it back. I'm really upset. And there was nobody to email, nobody to speak to. So it is, you know, important when you are going down the route of growing something through Instagram, I guess, to try and have something to back it up. Because if your account, something going around saying if you do giveaways, Instagram may delete your account. You know, there's certain guidelines that you just might not know. And you know, you need to somehow have something to back it up. If it goes tomorrow, what are you? Are you nothing anymore? Is that it? Are you done?
All that hard work,
you know. So in terms of where we see ourselves, eventually we want to grow the account and then create something from it. Like I said, whether we go down writing a book or having our own brand, whatever that is, but we want to get to the point where our following is strong enough that we know we have a client base to do it.
Sure. And Kate, have you seen, sorry Terry, I was going to say, Kate, kind of, Terry mentioned it from that mental health point of view. Is it something that you see a lot, that people have either, you know, compared themselves to others or influencers, which is maybe the more dark side of it? Although alternatively, you know, there are a lot of people who are influencers who are very positive and always telling people to look on the bright side and giving examples how they've overcome things. So do you find that one outweighs the other, or it's a bit of a mixture of both?
Well, like everything, social media has got its positives and its negatives. I don't think we know of anything in the world that's 100% perfect. And it's human nature, isn't it? So, you know, during this lockdown, I remember the night before it was announced, I ended up on Look North talking about, you know, how to manage a potential lockdown and all these things, thinking we'd all be back in the office in a couple of months, it's fine. But, you know, one of the key things was about remaining connected. And how have we remained connected throughout all this? You know, social media has been a massive part of it, you know, even for my parents, for example, who, you know, I've had to teach them how to use WhatsApp. And even yesterday, Dad had managed to flip the camera and, you know, wasn't quite sure how to do the FaceTime call. But it's been really, really vital. But thinking about that sort of fragility of success that you guys just talked about around Instagram, you know, my little boy is 8 and is obsessed with YouTube. And when you ask him what he's going to be, he's either going to be a barrister or a YouTuber. You know, he's not decided yet. But I think
you could be the first YouTube barrister. Who knows?
Why not? Let's go for it.
Well, it probably already exists.
But for me, you know, that those sort of dreams and aspirations, and that, you know, he can be as big as his favorite YouTube star if he just does it. And that's not the case. And I think that there's a lot of things around children and young people and mental health at the moment that we really need to address. So talking about the plan forward, I'd love to not have a plan, but we really have to in our industry. And we're looking forward to trying to secure some funding to be able to work much more in that area with schools around that preventative agenda, because I think that there's a potential. I mean, we're pretty much in a mental health crisis right now, but if we don't work to prevent future mental health crises with children and young people and work with them in a really positive, proactive way, where will we be in sort of 20, 25 years time?
Exactly.
So for us, that's completely our focus moving forward over the next 12 months and beyond.
Yeah, and I think it's about having kind of a strong network around you at the same time, and that obviously applies socially. And Jodie, have you found that having like a strong network and following around you has enabled you to grow over the years?
Sorry, you just went off there. Was that for me?
Oh, it's okay. I've just said, have you found that having a strong network and following around you has allowed you to grow?
Absolutely. Well, just using the last 12 months, you know, the whole nature of what it is has been just creating a network and creating a community. And it's actually happened really quite quickly. And it's amazing to see the response of the people within the community, how they actually just trust each other. And my travel business is built on recommendation and referral. And it was something that I wanted to bring forward into this community, is if you recommend something or someone, then people actually trust you. Because if they believe you and they agree with you, then actually you're all looking at the same goal. And so, you know, just the luxury lifestyle industry, it's all just very nice to have it. It's not that complicated, you know, like mental health and other things. It's all, you know, people are within the community asking simple things, you know, where should I go on a holiday? I asked the other day, and I genuinely meant it, that I needed some new jeans, for example. The conversation within the community was unbelievable, from people recommending what they like, for people recommending shops and stores. And in the end, you know, the whole full circle of it, I've ended up connecting with a fantastic chain of stores in London who sell jeans, Trilogy. They've actually sent me a parcel yesterday after having a denim consultation. And it's all just spurred from the community and the network around. Within that, I know it's jeans and it's not, you know, but it just shows the power of the community, and it really is amazing.
Yeah, and Lucy, do you kind of find that it's been the same for you on your journey? Because obviously you kind of outlined your career path earlier, which is one of the more unique ones. But I guess it is having that network, and now certainly as everybody's moved digitally, you're not having to make those connections in real life. It's almost easier to connect with people, do you find?
So yeah, so being a PR is all about relationships. That's basically what my job is. But now that, I mean, I set up in travel on my own because I knew I was going to move back from London to Yorkshire because I'm originally from here. And I didn't want to run a fashion PR agency from Yorkshire because at the time it was very difficult with logistics. Ironically, now with DPD are probably all right because you would send samples for shoots and things. So yeah, in terms of how things have changed, I would say now how PR works is that it's I would say maybe 70 to 80% digital coverage that clients want versus the print. Print is still, you know, loved by a lot of clients from a kudos point of view, but it is very much everyone wants digital, and whether that's a digital from a newspaper or an online publication or from an influencer or a blogger. Do excuse me, I had the COVID vaccine at the weekend and I've been ill ever since. So
it's a killer. It's a killer.
So yeah, everything's going digital. And another thing I wanted to go back to when you were saying about working with people. So I've worked with the censor on Braithwaite Sons End. I'm obviously sort of the PR side of things, and I work a lot in terms of the influencers, but I'm not a techie. I have no idea about sort of SEO and building UTMs and things like that. So I've worked with a censor who've been amazing at the digital side of things. So I know what I'm good at. I'm a PR, I'm, you know, great at the creative side of things. And, but yeah, it's really great when you work with brands that do things that you don't do, and you work collaboratively. So I just wanted to mention that. But another thing that I've found since launching my sort of little side hustle is, I mean, I've sold out of clothing that I've been sourcing from France by just putting it live online, sort of with a website that's set up free via Shopify, and then using social and just being really honest about my situation, saying, hey, look, I have a business, it's not going so great at the moment, love fashion, lived in Paris, I can bring you French clothes from the wholesale district that I used to work in, you know. And I think that authenticity and having those connections online is so important. I'm actually really loving the fact that we've had to work from home, because I used to be up and down to London on that like East Coast line 2 or 3 times a week, like on that 7 a.m. back at 11 o'clock at night. So I'm loving that we've been at home. My life has completely changed, and I hope that it continues, that we can all do meetings via Zoom as well. But like what you were saying about, you know, taking a car to Manchester for a half an hour meeting for an hour and a half, it's bonkers. Like, if we can keep this, then that would be great.
Yeah, yeah, it's just keeping moving. And I am aware of time, actually. We need to go to some questions. So Terry, I did notice that your hand was up earlier, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to jump back to something that Holly and Sophie had said from Life of Mummies. They were saying that, you know, what do we do? Do we write a book? Do we do something? And I think Jane once said something to me, because I always think that, you know, I just get on with life and just do things every day and think that, you know, what I'm doing is just, everybody does it, everybody knows it. But it's interesting how many people are interested in what you do, you know, what each one of us do on here and what they can learn from us and what's pretty much every day for us and just becomes standard. You know, like Life of Mummies, there's going to be, you know, there's going to be millions of people following their footsteps, wanting to know how do you bring up children and what are the good tips that you can have. You know, I've actually looked for it myself to show my sister. She's, you know, she's got 2 kids. You know, I've looked for great parenting skills and stuff like that, you know, just to give her examples and things. But, you know, like with the Life of Mummies, I think certainly consider doing a book, because you may be pleasantly surprised how many people would actually be interested in reading it.
We actually start writing one, and then we all think
we also both had babies in the pandemic.
Yeah,
literally like pregnant and babies,
had a baby, yeah,
while having a toddler at home that can't go to nursery, and you can't have any childcare, and your parents can't meet the baby. So we've tried so many times
to do this book,
but we actually need childcare, and then we can do something.
Yeah, we definitely want to do it.
We do want to do it though. We definitely do, because I think it's really important. You know, like I say, first time mums don't know what they're doing, don't know what to expect, even down to your husband. I mean, the men out there that have babies know that your wife turns into a lunatic when she's pregnant. Like, you don't expect it. Suddenly she's like a caged animal and everything's your fault. And, you know, so even just preparing then,
a book for husbands,
a good thing to be.
So even if the book is for your children when they grow up, to see, you know, what times were like when they were born, and, you know, because it's going to be a unique time, you know, hopefully we're never going to have another pandemic that anyone, you know, that we have born now is going to suffer again in the future. You know, the stuff that you had to go through, the things that you had to do, you know, looking at all that, and they probably won't appreciate it. They won't even know at this time, you know, what you've had to do to bring them up and what difficulties you've faced. So I think that even if you start with the mindset that you're just doing it for them, for their future when they get older, you know, I think, and then you'll be pleasantly surprised how many people will actually probably pick it up and want to, you know, take advice from it, I reckon.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, Holly's little boy was born yesterday, which was the anniversary of the pandemic.
It was, yeah. So it was, oh God, you know, if we did write a book, I think we wouldn't be able to stop.
I know.
But no,
Can I just jump in here? I don't know if I'm allowed to say this right now, but I have quite a good contact at HarperCollins, because I had a client that launched a book published by HarperCollins.
Oh, that's amazing.
Here
we go.
And do you guys have agents or not? Or do you?
Yeah, we did. We are on we are speaking to an agent at the moment. Yeah, seeing how that goes. But yeah,
we're the agent.
Yeah. But
there we go.
No, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. It's networking and that creativity, and I think a lot of the awards that will be dished out at the big ceremony in September kind of will reward that creativity and everything else that we've spoken about. Just a reminder, actually, voting will be open next Thursday, the 1st of April. So after this, on all our social media channels, obviously we'll send a recording of this and let everybody know what the categories will be and how it's going to go voting wise. But it's interesting you talked about that creativity and how people have got perhaps even more creative, certainly with some of the things they've done online. And one of the questions that we've had is, what's the most creative or favorite content that you've seen in the past 12 months? Does anything stick out to anybody that's really resonated with them?
Well, I've loved going on OnlyFans. There's been some great content on there. That was a joke.
We our lives are consumed with watching mums, but just hilarious mums trying to homeschool, like with a glass of wine, like it says like day 1, and everyone's like, like today we're going to do ad, and then that's day 5, and they're like pairs like this, like drinking, like someone help me, you know. For us, it's been like tongue-in-cheek, funny stuff to help us. Sometimes I just get in bed and I want to see stuff that's not related to the news. It's not related to anything.
We
negative.
Spend all night sending each other TikToks.
Just something just light-hearted, funny, to just change, you know, because it can consume you, and that's to do, you know, Kate, down to mental health, you know, all of us here at some point have experienced anxiety throughout the pandemic. We've all become anxious. Your routine is flipped upside down. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to keep your children entertained. You're panicked, you're scared, you're worried, you know. So it's just, I think, finding an escapism somewhere, however you can do it,
Yeah,
it's really important for all of us.
I've actually loved Gary Barlow singing at home with all these amazing stars.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. And actually some of the amazing pop stars and movie stars and all the content that they've put out for free has been absolutely amazing. I've loved watching all of it.
I think what it kind of shows us, doesn't it, is that it doesn't matter how famous you are or who you are, you know, you are blocked like everybody else in terms of that you're stuck at home, you can't go out and do what you normally do, and it makes everybody kind of equal. That's what I felt, you know, that looking at a lot of celebrities have just been exactly like we are. They haven't been able to do anything, no matter what powers they've got, what money they've got, they haven't been able to do anything different to what each one of us have had to do every day.
It's good. That's why it's brought us everyone together in a way, because we're all in the same boat-ish or whatever. But it's true. It's brought everyone together. It's actually, that's the positive about it as well. That you're looking at all these celebrities that you see, and actually, do you know what? They are pretty much the same as you. They are still having to go through all the same stuff that we're having to go through in a lockdown, and it can be reassuring.
I actually watched I know we're running over now, but like the Kardashians. Okay, that's our era. This is who we watch. But I love watching the Kardashians. Like, you love to hate them, you love them, but we're not sure, but you just love them. And you have a favourite. And I was watching them last night, and they are in a pandemic. You know, like Kim's at home with her kids, and she's like, I'm so used to filming my makeup tutorials, and like, can you just get out of the way? And her daughter's like, you know, and it's nice. Amazing to watch, because I'm like, oh my God, like even you, who seem to have everything, are struggling. You know, so it's so nice to see. And not nice to see them struggle. It makes them feel better.
It's all about getting creative, isn't it? And as I said, we sadly we are pretty much out of time as well. I think we could have probably gone on all day today, but yeah, it's been an amazing launch. Thank you very much, everybody, for the panel. I think between now and September we'll probably do another of these. I think it's safe to say, so we can get all the other questions and answers in. But yeah, I'll just quickly hand over to Kim and Evie. Are there any more details that you want to tell people?
Yeah, so when you mentioned about next Thursday, so next Thursday is the 1st of April. So actually, nominations are actually open right now, so you can actually nominate. But tickets will be out next Thursday. Woohoo! So you can actually buy tickets to the event. Fingers crossed that it goes ahead. We've got a lovely event in Leeds, Left Bank, if anyone knows it on here. It's beautiful. It's like an old church. It's gorgeous. We've got enough room to social distance, haven't we, Jane? So
yes, we're the outside as well.
Yeah, and we've got the outside as well, which is beautiful. So yeah, we'll have it all decorated, very, very nice. We're gonna have live entertainment, Yorkshire businesses. We'll have a giveaway on the night for Leeds Mind. It'll be something to look forward to. So we're hoping it can go ahead. So yeah, tickets next week. More information on our Instagram. Little plug there if you want to go and follow us on Instagram. But yeah.
No, I think well, you've pretty much covered it. So I think basically, yeah, it's just going to be, as we've all spoken about today, there's so much that I think Terry said as well, that it's going to go even harder once we are all out, because we're all just so looking forward to it. So I just think it's going to be a great event for us to all celebrate all of the Yorkshire talent that we've got. So yeah, but thank you all for joining, because we're really, really looking forward to it now.
And hopefully we'll all see you all there watching and participating right now. We'll see all your faces there, and then we can actually speak to people in real life. How weird.
You know what, Terry, next time, you know, like you said, James, next time maybe we could do a hybrid. We could all be live. The girls, the Life of Mum is there in London. They could be in London, and we could be down at Fibre or Mission.
Hey, there we go.
Nice. Definitely be welcome back.
We could all be together.
We want to come to Fibre.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Good, you come. People here.
That was easy. Fantastic. Okay. Well, yeah, like we say, we're going to post more information on our social channels, including recording of this today, about not just the tickets, but the awards, the events, and nominations. So really looking forward to it. A massive thank you to everybody that's been on the panel today and obviously logged on online. And we will speak to you and see you very, very soon.
Thank you.
Cheers all.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.